Raindrops. On today's episode of Reality with the King, Blue Talusma and I are back. And listen, all know the two of us as a duo, primarily because a couple of years ago we did a whole deep dive on the Kardashians. It was a
Mhm.
huge success.
It was.
I owe the Raindrops for introducing me to you, Blue.
Really?
Well, you know the story how you did a TikTok. It wasn't for TikTok exclusively, but you
Hmm.
did a video talking about Travis Barker book and all of
Hmm.
the things with Kim and Courtney and all the things. And my raindrop said, Carlos, look at this. And I watched and I said, I need her on the podcast. And the rest is history. So no, the raindrops were
Yeah.
like, check her out. And I'm like, I'm obsessed already.
And it's full circle because I told you that I wasn't good at TikTok, and months later I realized that Shayna Mokler had DM'd me and was like, "Y'all got that shit right." She was like, "Yep, that's exactly what the fuck happened." And now Shayna's doing a show with Claudia, so it's all very interconnected, honey. We're on the right side of history repeatedly.
We listen, we are and raindrops today. We are here to I'm not gonna say recap, but I think it's called doing a deep dive in Lamar Odom's Netflix documentary because it's the reason why I can't say we're doing a recap like we do on Monday Night Live with our reality shows because we can talk about scene by scene and give our opinions. This one is different because it's a documentary on Lamar Odom's life and his marriage to Khloe, his child's mother, his family life, and of course the addiction he faced. But Blue, let's just get right into it. And listen, if you haven't watched the documentary, spoiler alert, we're going to reveal some things. But I'll say this: it's worth the watch.
Smoke some weed first, illegally obtained, or eat an edible, child, because he gonna work your nerves. That boy ain't learned nothing. But go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. So the thing is this: it starts off giving us a glimpse inside of his personal life. You know, his childhood growing up. His auntie is a part of the documentary.
I love her.
Yeah, no, she's like every black person auntie that still lives in the neighborhood because she
Mhm.
doesn't want to go away. She's kind of like Pearl from 227.
Very much so.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's the one that kind of knows everything. She talks about how his mom wanted to name him Lamont, but she said that word's for sissies. And I'm like, we still using that word in
I
2026, but
said, now,
okay.
ma'am, you got a fresh wig, but not a fresh attitude. What's going on? Ma'am, ma'am, you can't say that. This is Netflix.
And y'all kept it in the
They
episode.
kept
Like,
it.
what is that about? But when you learn about his childhood, you know, his father always dealt with drugs, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and the relationship with his mother wasn't always there. Starting from his childhood, do you think that that really does paint the picture of who Lamar is as an adult?
Yeah, because one of the things that I realized immediately is that Lamar Odom is a love bomber and an addict, and his daddy was a love bomber and an addict. Because in the very beginning, they talk about how his father was charismatic but had a problem, right? And when you look at how Lamar met his baby mama, she was crying over a broken heart, and he love bombed her during a weak moment. Did we not just describe Khloe Kardashian during every single season up until she met Lamar Odom? Finding a damsel and presenting yourself as a savior when you about to be her biggest dependent feels like a family curse that he got from his pappy. Yeah, the apple didn't even leave the tree, child. It's still stuck on the branch.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. This is me being nice, Carlos. I'm trying to be nice.
No, I mean, listen, let's get into it because the mother of his children, you know, like you said, she was dating one of his friends.
Dirty
And
Harry.
when right? And when the boy broke her heart, Lamar's like, give me a chance. And then gave him a chance. He starts to make some noise in school for his athleticism, and then he gets her pregnant, and
Mm-hmm.
then tells her to follow me, and she follows him.
Entrapment. Mm-hmm.
Is that was that what that
It
was?
was giving entrapment. As a girl, here's the thing: me and Lamar Odom we're all in the. How old is he? Like 40 something, like early 40s.
Yeah, he definitely late 40s.
Oh, he's older than me then. But like
Well, let me see. Hold on, child,
yeah, how old
because
is Lamar? Because he had a hard life, so we can't tell from his face, child.
Lord Jesus, girlfriend,
How old
Lamar
is he?
Odom, blue to loose, my ladies and gentlemen.
No, that
He
man triggered
is
me, man. He triggered me. He is
he's
the man that I
46.
fear. He's
He's
46.
46.
Okay, so Lamar and I are like okay, so in the same realm ish, right? Back then, if a cute boy liked you, there was something about entrapment that used to happen. Like, oh, I gave you a baby, you have to follow me around. He is a very selfish man, and I watched the documentary quickly realizing Lamar Odom is the black Charlie Sheen. The only person who can take that many drugs, drop dead, and come back like Jesus from Easter is Charlie Sheen and Lamar Odom. Those men are pickled and preserved in drugs. Okay, the drugs are actually keeping them alive. I don't recommend you try this at home. And the man said, yeah, I died for 3 days, but I'm back though. What's up? Like, wait, what? That's not normal. Only Charlie Sheen can do that. But in Charlie Sheen's documentary, I do believe that Charlie Sheen evolved in some way. I'm not absolving Charlie Sheen of his sins, but by the end of the Charlie Sheen documentary, I could see a little bit of growth. Child, I watched the Lamar Odom documentary and said, "Is there another part 3? Because where's the part where I feel like he like learned something and is a better person?"
Because when you listen, when we can fast forward towards the end, because that ending soundbite, the moment the interview was done, and he wanted to go to Vegas, and it was, listen, it was sad because it was sort of like you went through this whirlwind of addiction and despair and all the things,
Death.
and
You
and
died.
you still want to party, and I thought that was, I don't know. I thought that was sad, and even when you go back to his child's mother, Liza Morales,
Ugh.
and how they lost a child due to crib death, right? Is that the
Sudden
right word?
infant death. Yeah, one of those type of situations. Yeah.
Yeah. While he was on the road, and pretty much how that situation, unfortunately, drove them apart because he was making some noise, in the NBA, and he moved her to Los Angeles and pretty much abandoned her. Like he abandoned her.
Yeah, the same way he abandoned Chloe. And the thing is, too, is we talk about this on the main show a lot about how when you're a woman and you have any sort of power or clout or platform, there are these baddie men who see you as a clout chase. It wasn't until this documentary that I realized that Lamar Odom was a baddie. Because you would think that because he was a basketball star and had all this stuff, but the fact that he himself admits that Chloe was a good look. Wow. So not even the rich men are baddies. I was worried about the brokies. Not even the rich men are baddies. Carlos, I'm gonna get a dog. Okay, send me your breeder's name because I give up. I give up. Okay, y'all done convinced me to leave broke men alone. Now the rich ones are baddies too. I give up. I give up.
We really need to settle on this. First of all, before we get to that, because I already knew you and I was gonna clock what he said, because I'm not sure a lot of people did. Maybe they
They
did.
hate
I just
Chloe
don't
so much
know.
they don't want to humanize her.
We need to talk about, did you gag when you learned that they got Khloe Kardashian to even be featured in the documentary?
I was tickled. It's the only reason I kept watching when he pissed me off. Because the one thing I will give about Chloe, and I've said this before years ago, Khloe Kardashian is cosplaying as everybody's favorite downtrodden black auntie. And so the black auntie that lives inside of her, I will always feel some kind of sincere sadness for, because we all know that black woman in our family who's trying to save all these men and dies depleted, right? Even Chloe has said she's been celibate for like 3 years now because she doesn't want to look at another penis again because of Lamar and them, right? So the black woman that lives inside of Khloe Kardashian, I'm going to always have some kind of sympathy for. And part of what I saw was a woman who gave everything for a man who benefited heavily and is still not grateful enough for me. That man is ungrateful. Lamar Odom, you are ungrateful. My birthday twin, Kelly Clarkson, said, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Kelly, you were wrong. What doesn't kill you sometimes gives you more audacity. He didn't get stronger. He's just more audacious. He literally ended the documentary by saying, I'm about to go to Vegas and get married, child. I'm about to find another victim, baby. Like, he's still outside, Carlos. Not everybody gets better with age.
It was, the thing about it is this. It was disheartening to. I just have to get it out.
Yes, I am.
I don't think he ever was in love with Chloe.
I don't either now.
I think he loved the idea of being with Khloe Kardashian.
Yeah.
Because again, Raindrops, if you haven't watched it, is what he said that I was like, oh, I clocked it immediately when he said, yeah, I'm around this family. And I'm like, oh, I can get used to this. This is what I need. It was never like, I'm in love with her. Um, None of those things. She was in love with him. I didn't realize she was so young, 24 years old when they got married within 30 days of meeting each other. He was plotting against her the way the women back in the day, some of the day, poke holes in
Hmm.
condoms to get pregnant by the rich rapper.
I'm gonna look at what date that they get married. Lamar Odom, Khloe Kardashian marriage, because you know we're journalists here, guys, and
Hey,
so we want to make sure that we get the dates right. Because hold on, I have a little bit of tea. Lamar Odom. Okay, so they were married in 2009. Marriage date. I want to get the exact date.
yes, please.
They were married September 27, 2009. So they met in September or late August and then got married in late September, right? I
Hmm.
saw Khloe Kardashian, and I don't think I've ever said this anywhere before. I ran into Khloe Kardashian the month before she met Lamar Odom. It was July 2009. I was working for a nonprofit that was flying me to Vegas for a conference. I had a layover in Los Angeles and took a flight with Kim Kardashian, Reggie Bush, and Khloe Kardashian the month before she met Lamar. Khloe Kardashian was the third wheel. And I remember sitting there like, is that Kim Kardashian at my gate? No, that's not Kim Kardashian at my gate. Because they were still fairly new. 2009 was right before
Hmm.
it became stratospheric, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I got on the flight with them and they were in first class and I was like in Comfort Plus or something, like a couple of rows behind them. And I'm just staring at them like, is Kim Kardashian and Reggie Bush? First of all, everybody's shorter than I thought. I'm 5'9", so me and Khloe were the same height. I was like, Khloe's not as fat as I thought. She's prettier than I thought. She looks like a lonely third wheel, though, right? She looked like a lonely third wheel. Fast forward all these years now, watching the documentary and hearing his first baby mama talk about how he grabbed her, it's very much the same way that Khloe was the month before they met. She seemed like a pretty lonely girl who was ripe
Mm.
for the picking. The fact that I saw her in that light and then a month later she's in this whirlwind marriage with this man who I think is a love bomber, there's something predatory about it that I can't unsee, Carlos. Because that girl in that at LAX looked like a lonely third wheel with her sister and her cute boyfriend, and I was like, that's exactly the kind of girl that a guy like Lamar would go after. Because you're Kardashian adjacent, like you're not the pretty sister, but you're right next to the throne. You have access to all the things that Kim and Chris and them have, but you're the weak spot that the press is making fun of, who clearly is visibly lonely. Nah.
And one thing that I learned about straight men, because straight men have said this to me,
Oh.
straight men have said they can spot a woman with daddy issues and they can spot a woman who's lonely. And
Yeah.
what and listen, Blue is right because again, straight men said this to me. They go after you because they're able to sort of mold you to be the woman they want you to be, and they know you're not going to leave them,
Because
as
you're
they
grateful.
do everything else.
They're grateful to be chose. I tell people all the time, one of the things that scares me is a lot of attractive men in Hollywood, when they hit on me, are annoyed when I'm not more grateful to be chosen. How dare you think we're equals? Like, I'm fine. There's a couple people that y'all call your man crush Mondays who I've curved who called me a bitch. Because how dare I turn you down? Oh, honey, yes, we'll talk off camera. And they get very upset because they're thinking, you're a racially unambiguous black woman over 35 and you plus size. You should just be happy that I want to smell your drawers. I'm like, no, I actually have self esteem. I have a great therapist. Men like that get very angry when you're not willing to kiss the ring in that way. And Lamar Odom very much comes off like that to me. I think this documentary did him no favors. I actually liked him more before the documentary.
Explain that to me. Was it okay? Did a lot of it have to do with, and we're going to dive into this some more. Was it his treatment towards Chloe from the first day they met until the day she smelled the crack and saw him smoking it at the house after recovery? Was it like you said earlier, the audacity of how he just isn't it's one thing because addiction is real.
Addiction
Addiction,
is a
you
disease,
really
yeah.
it does have a strong hold on you. Do you give him a pass because of the addiction, or do you think the addiction aside, before he, as he said, did his first cocaine in Miami, later in life, and he's alleging he did his first hit of cocaine in Miami after he met Chloe. That's what he's
Allegedly.
alleging.
Here's the thing: the addiction is why I was showing him grace because it is a disease, and I recognize it as a disease, right?
Yeah, it is.
My
Yeah.
issue is hindsight was supposed to be 2020. It wasn't. My thing is those moments of clarity that even addicts have, the lack of depth in those moments of clarity, and his mask slipping and showing that when he wasn't being addicted in that moment, he was being conniving. It's the conniving part. It's the clout chaser part. I do think that being in the shadow of like a Kobe Bryant and then finding your way to be bigger than a Kobe did something to him. I think he was the, and I hate to use this analogy, back in the 90s and early 2000s, we used to be like, are you the Kelly Rowland or the Beyonce?
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, we now know in 2026 that Kelly Rowland is a bad bitch, right? But back in
For
the
sure.
day, she's
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous. She's a stunning specimen of a woman. But back in the day, before we knew better, we saw her as second. We saw her as the sidekick, and it was always a running joke: are you the main character or the sidekick? Lamar Odom was always adjacent to the glamour, right? The
Oh.
Kardashians finally centered him. And him being cognizant of it and admitting in retrospect that it was intentional, that's why he lost favor with me. When Khloe said, I did not want to do Khloe and Lamar, that was Lamar's idea.
Which up until she said that, you could not have convinced me that wasn't them.
I thought
I
that was
was
Chris.
shocked.
I thought it was Chris.
Oh, when I said them, I meant Chris,
We
the
blame everything
producer.
on Chris. Y'all got me up here defending Chris Jenner. My God, today. Like, we owe Chris Jenner an apology. This entire time it was Lamar.
When he said I was on TV twice every Sunday, first the basketball game, then the reality show, and then when they showed that cringy perfume, that unisex perfume cologne
Ugh,
commercial,
I remember when it happened. Yeah. That
it
was
was
all
like,
Lamar.
oh, you. I let me tell you something. I felt so bad for her because again, going back to her being 24, meeting this man, 30 days getting married, and Khloe has been very honest about what she like Blue intimated, how she was perceived growing up. Who are you in the family? Like you don't look like anything like Kim and Courtney.
The
Like
big ugly one. Yeah.
yes, yeah, so she's always said that. And the idea of he took advantage of that to me, just based on everything he said, in addition to the fact that when the mistress called Chris first, then Khloe, and said, come get your husband, I'm fucking him.
Let me tell you something about. We need to do a whole episode on male baddies. Like, we need to have an intervention with them.
I
I
actually,
once,
I actually would love to.
seriously, because let's find someone who will admit it, though, because they're too proud to admit it, right? I once knew a male baddie in Hollywood who, while he was trying to talk to me, was gloating that he was dating in the side piece of the fiance of a media mogul. And he was talking about how, like, yeah, he might be rich and stuff, because baddies resent rich men. He might be rich and successful and stuff, but his bitch spent money on me, taking me on vacation. And I'm like, I thought we were supposed to be on a date. This is awkward. And he's fine as hell. You'll die when you know who it is. He's fine as hell. So I'm just like, oh, this is we are never having sex. But to see how much he gloated about the pillow talk between him and her about the powerful person that they were in cahoots against,
Hmm.
I very much believe that all of Lamar's bitches knew about his Kardashianness, and they were probably privy to way more than they were supposed to be. And knowing that's how the baddies speak to their other women does not surprise me at all that she felt the audacity to. She probably felt like she knew the family from talking to him all the time. He's a liability in a way that is much louder than I ever perceived. And I do think that the Kardashian women do have a soft spot for coddling broken black men. We've talked about this previously.
Hmm.
And I can't imagine how Chris felt watching that documentary. You're still gloating about taking advantage of my daughter years later when you had all these opportunities to clean yourself up and say, I'm so sorry. Like, years later, you're still gloating. Carlos, he was gloating about taking advantage of her. He wasn't remorseful. He thinks it's cute now. Present tense, 2026, he still thinks it's cute. Now, Lamar Odom, sir, you were better off doing a KFC commercial than doing that documentary, child.
Okay.
That was not good for your legacy. You were better off being finger licking good than telling us that you are worse than we ever imagined. I thought you were sick. You sick and you a bad bitch. That's a bad combination, child.
Okay.
Is this what what you were expecting, Carlos.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, hi. That's why I'm doing this with you. Because listen, I knew you would dissect this in a way that no one else could because of your education and just insight based on the dynamics of Mars versus Venus and as that all relates in Hollywood. Because
Yeah.
the thing is this. I really and it's interesting you brought up Charlie Sheen, which I watched that documentary and it had like 3 episodes because
Yeah.
we're talking about Charlie fucking Sheen,
Sure.
right? Worthy of 3 episodes, but I agree with you. I did feel towards the end there was a level of remorse and if he could do things all over again, it would be different. And I appreciate the fact that him and Denise Richards have a relationship.
Yeah.
Khloe and Lamar do not have a relationship today. We never talked about this publicly. Did you watch the episode where he was on the Kardashians
Yes, I
last
did.
season? And he brought the sheet cake. He was hours late. And I remember watching it feeling like something's not right here. And I never want to assume anything. And I think Chloe's coldness was because she also was like, you're just not going to change. And as a producer, I got to get this out. I believe the reason why Lamar now was on the Kardashians is because Chloe said, I'll do the Netflix thing. And it was an even exchange.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes, and honestly too, when you're someone who is used to overextending grace to people that they haven't earned, it always irritates you when someone doesn't show any gratitude that they're getting something from you that they haven't earned and they want even more. Right? We all know that feel. Carlos, I know that the people who have been
Mhm.
ungrateful to you, because Carlos, here's the thing, Carlos doesn't get his flowers. Carlos puts everybody on, but not everybody says thank you to you, Carlos. And I peeped that. Like, I've been watching, right? You know, I like to study people, right? And so you know what it's like to be generous and be around ungrateful people. It's hurtful. And
It is.
it's very hurtful because you're like, damn, if I did you the way you did me, this wouldn't you wouldn't even have the opportunity to be breathing my air right now. Like the fact that we even breathe in the same air is already grace in itself because you've earned much worse than this, right? And
Yeah.
I do feel for Khloe that she's like, I've still kept it cute when I could have ethered you. And you're in my face with a fucking sheet cake acting like it was just a misunderstanding. I'm on Khloe's side on this one.
Oh, I listen, Team Chloe on this as well because the thing
Hardcore.
is this. I she was in love with him and listen to hear how she unfortunately she admitted I was an enabler. This is my husband. I thought he could get better. I hated when he was off season because it gave him permission to be out all night doing drugs. I watched him smoke crack. The smell of it you'll never forget.
Oh, the smell
And
of
the
crack.
fact that she was around all of that decides to like leave the situation. He goes to the Love Ranch. First of all, the owner of the Love Ranch, you thought Tiger King was a whack job.
Right.
This mother, this man is just as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And to know that he took, and when I say he, Lamar Odom, he took 12 of the sexual enhancement drug called Reload that you're supposed to take once a
Yeah.
day, if that. He took 12 in one day. 12.
He's supposed to be dead. Like this man is a medical miracle. But here's the thing, Carl. Did you see the part at the beginning though, where they said they recreated where the hotel scene where he died in a museum? There's a museum now.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom almost dying has now become a main attraction for Lamar Odom and everybody who's attached to it. That's how sick the attachment to celebrity is. We'll take
Mm-hmm.
a nasty near-death experience that's supposed to scare you straight. Back in the day, Scared Straight actually worked. Now Scared Straight is like an infomercial for the next content creator. Like, ooh, if I almost die and come back, I get to be an influencer. Like, no, that's not how you were supposed to take that. This is not a good thing. So, like, they're all living as if that moment of him almost dying and them dominating the news feed is like the highlight of all of their lives. That is sad.
It's so sad. And the thing hearing that he literally had 12 strokes,
Oh,
6 heart attacks, and Chloe finds out, drops what she's doing,
yeah.
and is there with him in the hospital in Las Vegas,
Feeding him.
and had 24-hour security because she said the drug dealers were coming to supply him with drugs. as he's in a coma.
The baby mama had a little attitude though at that part that made
Oh,
me
oh, oh,
wince.
oh. Let you are my
I said, now,
say it,
bitch, not
say
too
it, say it,
much.
say it. Oh, because I know what you're talking about. Say what she said that made I was like this. Okay, Liza.
Girl, I was
I,
trying to be on your side, not too much, friend.
you gave you tell them recite the part because I know what part you're talking about.
So Khloe Kardashian, here's the thing about Khloe Kardashian. I will say, as somebody who understands that kind of girl, we understand that kind of girl. When your
Yes.
father is Robert Kardashian and the OJ case, and your mother's Kris Jenner and your sister is Kim fucking Kardashian, there's a certain level of you're used to the glamour to a certain degree where it doesn't razzle dazzle you anymore, right? And so Chloe's used to a certain level of celebrity that everybody else would gag over. She also has to learn the hard way about gatekeeping because when you are that conspicuous, everybody wants to be a barnacle. When she finds out the drug dealers are trying to come to the hospital, she says, for security reasons, we now have to have a list and be restricted about who gets access to Lamar because this has now turned into a fucking circus, right? My husband's a clown and now I live at the circus, right? Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Baby mama talking about, well, when I walked in there, they wanted to know if I was on the list. Do you know who the fuck I am? Girl! Girl! You have an attitude that you had to give your name for the list? She's keeping him alive, but you mad that you had to show your ID? Throw everybody away, child. I hate it. I hate it here. I hate everybody. Throw everybody away. Y'all got me caping for this white lady. Throw everybody away. You know I'm Afro Latina. I want to be on your side, but you sound like a
No,
clown right now.
but that's why I love you so much because at the end of the day, it's listen, no pun intended, it's black and white. That's what
Right.
I'm
You
saying.
spelled thank you incorrectly, babe. Not thank you for keeping my nigga alive. On a list. Do you know who I am? Yes, you the bitch who couldn't afford the list. That's why she made the list and you're on it. Jesus wept. Please
Look,
get an
the
edible
thing is
before you
this.
watch this. I feel like me and Carlos are setting y'all up to watch something that's gonna spike your blood pressure.
No, listen, it like Blue said, this documentary, watching it, it was the complete opposite what I thought it was gonna
It was a
be.
shit show. It was a shit show, Carl. Carl said, "Hey, are you watching the Lamar documentary?" I said, "Oh, it's on bet." And then halfway through, Bridget's with me, and I look at Bridget like, "This is a shit show. Nobody's getting better. Everybody sucks. What's happening?" I hate
It's
everybody.
it's not a redemption story to me because
Mm,
to like you said, Khloe literally is trying to make this guy remain alive with a
yes.
little hope, right? So, and this is no shade to anyone else. I am Team Khloe again because, and again, when I say this, I mean this respectfully. We know that unfortunately, enablers, like Khloe admitted, she's his wife enabler,
Yeah.
meaning she would watch him do it. She admitted that. Who's to say that me allowing your baby mama and your kids without being vetted, I don't know if they're going to give you something.
Mhm.
I'm trying to keep you alive. And yes, I understand that if you are the baby mama of Lamar Odom, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't. If you're the child of Lamar Odom, yes. The baby
Kids are
mama,
different.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, with all due respect, you have nothing to offer to this situation, and you don't have a say. You are
It's
the
envy,
baby
though, Carlos.
mama.
It's envy. It's envy because by that point, Chloe looked like a richer, whiter version of her. Can
Yeah.
we be honest that there was some envy
Oh
there?
yeah.
My upgrade put me on a list. How dare you? Girl, I get it, but I don't. Right? I get it. And here's the thing. Chloe had just walked in on your daddy trying to pull the plug for a check. So the whole family thing, even family's not safe. And here's the thing, I don't know if you've seen it in the news. Lamar Odom has come forward and says that he does not believe that Khloe Kardashian stopped his father from pulling the plug. Ungrateful. Your drug addicted daddy that didn't raise you suddenly is an angel that Khloe Kardashian's lying on, even though she did. Okay.
And you and I believe in this too. Certain things is like who makes this up. When she said your father Joe wanted to pull the plug, and she said, "Joe, what are you doing? Let him
Mm-hmm.
go." And she was like, "What do you want? Give me Nikes, cigarettes, and a hotel room or some shit."
Mm-hmm.
That is so specific that Chloe. Why would she make up a pair of shoes, some cigarettes or $100 in a
In the
hotel.
Holiday Inn.
Yes, like the thing is, when I saw him do it
Sorry.
was the Today Show, and
Wait, that was the
I
Today Show that he did. He said that. That was the Today
yeah,
Show.
I watched it. I watched
Mm.
it. Oh, I want to gag you some more.
I'm clenching my booty cheeks. I don't want to hear
So,
it. Mm-hmm.
um, Jenna and Chanel said it was great to see Khloe save your life, and he said, "God saved my life."
Oh, see,
And they, first of all,
ungrateful.
they gagged and said, "Well, yeah, God, yeah." But Chloe, and he was like, "Hey, just so y'all know, she did what she did, but God, I'm here because of God."
Oh, I hate that.
And it was like, yes, like we're all breathing because of God. That doesn't mean that this woman did not sacrifice her entire 6 months to nurse you back to health.
She's
And
literally the only reason you're alive.
I felt he said this yesterday. The Today Show was live. He said
Charlie
this.
Sheen would never. Y'all got me up here using Charlie Sheen as a moral litmus, right? Charlie Sheen would never. Lamar, you are an ungrateful cow. And I hope that Khloe Kardashian can finally end this chapter now that we know that she has been keeping even more secrets than we thought. It's worse than we thought. It's worse than. And I also think this is why the family is so protective of Khloe.
Yeah.
If we're this infuriated watching a well curated, edited clip, imagine watching this happen in real time for years and years and years while the whole world is feeling bad about his addiction but not recognizing how you're shitting on the person who's keeping you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I will say this, not everybody gets better with age. Lamar Odom is a reminder that you can have every reason to be grateful and still end up a mess. And growth is a choice, right? Lamar Odom, I think his Kardashian years, until the day he dies, he will constantly talk about it. I think that was his heyday for him, more so than his NBA career.
Mm.
He talks about his Kardashian years way more than he does about his NBA career because he doesn't care about the legacy. He cares about the clout. He's a clout demon. It's official. I blew to Lusman. These are not the thoughts of Carlos or anybody. I blew to Lusman think that Lamar Odom is a clout demon. I've seen too many cloud demons up close. I know one when I see one, and I do think that's why she's given up. Because when Khloe talks about giving up on men in that way, I think it's because it never conceived of her that you could invest this much and love that purely and be that selfless and still walk away with nothing and not even a proper thank you. A sheet cake on camera. That's it.
Baby. I again hours late and was sweating the whole time, and it was sad to watch. And even when she said how she after he got out of the coma and he was nursed back to health, he could walk again, talk again, and all these things. She got a house pretty much next door across the street from her in Calabasas, and she smelled the crack and saw him do it and punched him in the face.
Good for you.
I was, same thing, but it's what you're saying. It's sort of like since I was 24 years old, you have done nothing but been a new nuisance to like to
Take and take and take and
and
take.
take and take and take and I thought at least this. Ooh, maybe this. I gotta ask you because you would know better than me. Do you think she expected maybe he will at least for the first time since I've met this man would appreciate this? He didn't appreciate me in the marriage.
Yeah.
But maybe he will appreciate the fact that I helped get you back to being Lamar Odom.
Yeah.
And you're still
Yeah.
giving your ass to kiss by smoking crack in the crack.
In the house. Honestly, you know how sometimes when you break up from an ex that you really loved and you convince yourself that there's this one reason why they couldn't do right by you, and if this one thing was just addressed, y'all could have, the one that got away. We all had that
Yeah.
conversation about the one who got away, right?
Yeah.
I had a one who got away where literally, because you guys know I do readings, I had a reader tell me, hey, you have more than one soulmate and one of them might fuck it up. So when you meet him, yeah, it was devastating. And the minute I met him, I knew it was him. And I kept hoping that he would rise to the occasion. Do you know he came across my, he's blocked and everything, but he came across my feed through somebody else last week. And I was like, wow, I've gone through all this evolution. You're still that guy. Nothing we went through taught you anything.
Mm.
Carlos, it made me so sad because fuck us being together. I was at least hoping that what happened between us changed me. I was hoping it would change you. Some people will die the way that you left them. Not everybody evolves over time. And there's a heartbreak that comes not from the relationship not working, but for knowing, oh, you were never going to be better than this. That thing I saw in you, that little glimmer, was never going to come into fruition. I think Lamar is that for Khloe. I think Lamar broke Khloe more than Tristan did.
Yes. Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Lizzie just said a
Go ahead,
word.
Lizzie. Lizzie, no, Lizzie's got a word, child. Yes, yes, yes. Because the thing is this, you is the difference between Lamar and Tristan, and I'll give her this with Tristan. That is obviously the father of her child. So there's always going to be some connection there. So
Yeah.
she has to by default in a lot of ways. The Lamar thing, I think she really loved him. I think that's her first love. I think she thought this was my forever man. When she talked about the candy and him being goofy, like he was everything that, she thought like, oh, this is my connection. And I think in Chloe's defense too, listen, at that time for her too, Kim got Reggie, Courtney has Scott, and I have a basketball player who's handsome and tall, and he's playing with Kobe. And my brother Rob looks up to him. Like it was.
But the candy, can we get back to the candy?
Talk to me
Carlos,
about it.
when you love, and we both know what it's like to be around men who are charming, yes? When you see
Hmm.
that broken little, when you fall in love with a man and you see the broken little boy inside of him, it touches something in you.
Mm,
And I think Lamar, even the candy aspect, I love that they included that because it speaks to she saw a broken man child.
mm,
And she thought that she could love him and nurse. She's a cancer. She thought that she could love him and nurse that little boy inside of him. And that little boy inside of him, I think, is what has Chris on the hook. I think every time the Kardashian women see Lamar Odom, they see that broken little boy inside of him.
mm,
And they want to love that little boy so much, but the man he became is an asshole.
mm,
Oof. Child, I'm a little
mm.
triggered. We probably should have had a trigger warning before this. Because if you've ever loved a broken man, we all know this pain, Carlos. We all know this pain. You're like, oh, if your daddy had showed up for you, if your mother hadn't passed away, if your family had equipped you more, you could be so great. You're so talented. You've been gifted with so many Lamar has so many natural abilities.
Hmm.
If someone just loved you right, you could take over the world. And I love you right over and over and over again, and all you did was take over me. Nah. Respectfully, that's probably the last thing I will ever watch on Lamar Odom. So this is a grand opening, grand closing. We will not be doing any more lives about him. I can't. I still need to find a husband, Carlos. I'm gonna be a man
I'm
hater
with
if I
you.
keep watching more of these videos
No,
about
no.
Lamar Odom.
But I think to your point too, the reason why I love that we did this conversation is because again, one thing you and I do well is we always make it appetizing for the general audience just based on love and relationship. Like this is universal. And
Yeah.
like you said, it is a trigger warning for women who are being
And
with
some men, how you doing?
hey, hey,
How you doing?
yes, right. Hello now. In terms of these men who are desiring to be baddies, right? There is this dilemma happening when it comes to
It's
these
pandemic.
men. It's a pandemic happening, and the thing is one thing to learn that okay, I walked away from this saying, "Wow, he never loved you," and when he talked about being in your family and that taste of fame, and he just loved the paparazzi and all that shit. And when she said we didn't have like the Kardashians, that was our second season. We weren't rolling in the dough. So like he's making millions. I'm on the come up, and
You flying commercial with Blue Toulouse a month earlier, child. You definitely weren't rolling in the dough. We were in
you
a
see what I'm
commercial flight together, bitch. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it also was like, oh, I thought you were making all this money, and she's like, I was living off of his income, trying to keep things together. And the last thing she said on this documentary, which is what Blue is saying, Her exact words were, he was playing me so I could continue this lifestyle for him.
Yeah, because here's the thing too. Money and access are different. And in LA, in Hollywood, you could be in between blessings financially and have a ton of access. There were times in my career where I was down financially, but I was at Cardi B's birthday party popping it, right? Like,
Right.
access is very different from money. And when you're somebody who has access and you meet somebody who has money, you sometimes don't realize that person wants your access even though they have the money. That's a lesson I had to learn the hard way, friend. Okay, I have a couple of A-list enemies who I thought, there's no way you're hating on poor little me with a little press pass. Oh, you want my press pass because you want to come to the function. Oh, that's awkward. I thought you really liked me, friend. Fuck you and your EGOT. Like, it's this interesting cross section. Rich and famous are two different words for a reason.
Explain that to the audience because again, a lot of our viewers obviously aren't in the business. I get what you're saying when you say that, but explain to them about like the fact that when it comes to Hollywood, being rich and famous are different, and the intersection of that can sometimes sprout people who use you and take advantage of you.
Yeah, well, when I was working at the Griot, and I had a couple of stints at CNN where I had a press pass. So I was riding in motorcades with Michelle Obama, and I was going to all these industry events. But I was press, right? What I did not clock is getting in the room is a currency.
Hmm.
There are people who are much more famous than you, but who don't have access or are not on the list. And so it becomes this interesting cross section of you're meeting your childhood heroes, not realizing that they might have all these residual checks, but they haven't been invited to this party in years that you're taking for granted because you're covering for work. And so now they're being your friend for access, and you think, oh my God, I'm being chosen by one of my favorite people, right? And it's not until I lost my press pass. It wasn't until I left the Griot. I had some famous friends who I'd be like, hey, friend, I've left my job at the Griot. I'm going to be doing freelancing now and banking on myself. Left on red.
Hmm.
Oh, because oh, but wait a minute. When you were up and I had to kill stories for you so you wouldn't get canceled, I was your best friend. Your whole team knew that I was your A1 A spoon coon. But now that I can't give you that access, oh, different currencies. And so there are people. I did a whole show with a celebrity who I grew up watching, seeing her in King magazine, found out that she couldn't even pay for the check when we went to get drinks. What you mean your car got declined? But you've been famous for 20 years. I just got here. And so there's this interesting thing of appearances and smoke and mirrors that happens when it comes to celebrity culture, where who has the bag and who has the guest pass are not always the same person. Who's on the list and who can pay for the tab are not always the same fucking person. And when you think someone's clout chasing, sometimes y'all get that shit backwards. Sometimes it's the producer or the crew member or the person who's still in good favor with the network who's actually putting on your fave who you thought was the person in charge. I don't want to say too much, Carlos. I'm choosing my words carefully.
Now listen. You had me at the difference between the bag and the press pass because it that is so true. There's a lot of people who, a lot of my listeners they follow and they think they're everything. And I'm telling you, Blue is cooking right now because they may have the visibility, but they don't have the
They
currency.
can't pay their rent.
No, they can't. They can't. They just can't. And they'll do and say anything for a piece of change. Listen, they'll do strange for a piece of change.
Oh, honey.
And strange isn't always what y'all think is prostitution, all those things. It really is what Blue is saying, is befriending the PA or the producer because they are good with this person who's above. And you have these men that may have the money, but they don't have the power and they don't have the relevancy. And that is why they date the R&B singer or the hot female rapper and they get them pregnant. And
Or the
then
reality star who got paid 5K to do an appearance and that's when you met her. Khloe Kardashian was getting paid 5 racks to show up to a little event and say, what's up, everybody? She meets Lamar Odom, who is shooting with Kobe and them, who has all this money, but she the one who's the talent. Oh, but you related to Kim Kardashian, though. Huh. You might have needed that little 5K, but you related to Kim Kardashian. I could do something with this.
do you think she knows that now?
She does.
Do you think she knows that with Tristan?
She did. I think that's why. I think the reason why Tristan could not hurt her the way Lamar did is because Lamar taught her a very painful lesson.
Oh, good for her though.
Yeah.
I mean, good for her. It's a tough one to learn, and I think that's the reason why. because I listen, me and Blue still watch the
We do. We still watch it. It's
show.
like us and like seven other black people, but we still watch
Right, we still
it.
watch it, right? And my heart, and listen, this is me being a softie. My heart goes out when she talks about, like you said, oh, I've been celibate for 3 years and I don't leave the house. And I'm like, don't let, and listen, of course, I'm saying it, I haven't lived this, so I give all the grace because to be married to Lamar Odom and to be Tristan Thompson's baby mama, trust
Twice.
me, twice, trust
Yeah.
me, you get a lot of grace and you need some time off. But I do understand why there is this fear of meeting somebody because you don't know what their agenda is.
There's crack pops and baddies outside. I might want to stay inside. What? If there was ever a reason to stay in the house, Carlos, I'm just saying. If I get to be in my house with my nice little pantry with all my foods labeled in my clear containers, or go outside for male baddies and crack pipes, I'm having an inside movie at night. Fuck y'all. I'm not leaving the house. Y'all got me up here. I'm caping for Khloe Kardashian. Do you understand how hard this is for me as a black woman? In 2026, you got the 92% caping for Khloe Kardashian. That's how much and here's the thing about the male baddie epidemic. Let me explain to you something really quickly about how we got here. Black men were told, all men were told, but you know, when the world gets a cold, the black community gets the flu, right? Everything always hits us harder, right? Men were told for years, if you are a straight man, you can only provide. If you're a queer man, you're allowed to have feelings because they discard you like the women. But if you're a straight man, you are only a provider, right?
Mhm,
Then the women and the gays started going to school and making as much money and could beat you in provision, right?
mhm,
So now you can't wield provision against us because we got our own fucking coins. We going to brunch without you, my guy, right? Go to brunch in
mhm,
DC. It's nothing but gays and girls, honey, right? And so it's like, damn, I can't throw my money in their face anymore. Well, they talk about how they have feelings. I want to have feelings, but nobody ever taught you how to not to be self-indulgent with your feelings. So now we
mhm.
have all these men who have failed at provision, who are trying to understand how to feel, but are not being taught how to be emotionally intelligent with their feelings. And it creates this baddie mentality where men now, we keep on talking about trans girls versus cis girls. We need to be talking about straight men versus everybody else when it comes to the baddie culture, because they're thinking, well, women get flued out, I want to get flued out. Women cloud chase, I want to cloud chase. You have flattened the feminine experience. Women are more than that. They're taking the worst parts of us and cosplaying as the worst parts of us. What about the parts of us that actually care about other people? The parts of us that are holding space for other people? The parts of us that take accountability? The parts of us that nurture? Baddie culture is taking the worst parts of womanhood but leaving all the best parts that they could have actually learned from.
Well, Blue just gave me another topic to address. Let me
Everything we do is
round,
a production meeting, y'all. Y'all just watching our production meetings.
let me round in the troops. Hey, Funky. Hey, Dustin. We gotta
The male baddie pandemic next on the Black Divide. Write that down, Lizzie.
Lizzie. No, Lizzie, write that down. That's a good one. No, we have to do a whole separate thing with that because I do want to educate the girls on some of the telltale signs. Because listen,
There are signs.
this week we was on Mother Night Live and we talked about like all of the guys that were on Atlanta Housewives. We were like, well, who's that? What's going on? Like, it does seem to be this trend of like these motherfuckers want to get put on.
Thank
They
you.
they just they want to get put on and they want you to, like you said, feel like I may not have X, Y, Z, but bitch, I'm better than what you deserve. And that is a fucked up way of moving through life. And it makes me angry.
It makes us unsafe. The reason why we're reacting
Blue.
is because it's unsafe for everybody, including themselves. Lamar Odom is an unsafe black man who was given the world and is still too ungrateful to say thank you.
All right. Well, raindrops. Let us know your thoughts on this. And if you have watched the documentary, please leave a comment.
Oof.
And if you haven't, watch it and then come back and let us know your thoughts. And Blue, always let
You
them
know I
know
love
how they
it.
can find you, follow you, and support you, sis.
I'm at Bluecentric on YouTube and Instagram, and I'm at Blue Telusma on the TikTokies. I don't know why my TikTok's growing. I never go on there, but it's growing. So find me on TikTok, I guess. And you can find me on Monday night with Carlos and Dustin and Claudia.
Yo, she's a treat. I love you, Blue.
I adore
Okay.
you.
Be safe this week. I know you going out
I
this weekend
know.
with Dustin and all the things, but
I'll
have
be back on
fun.
420 though. How you doing?
Mm.
You know.
Another
Have
spicy episode for us.
Yeah, I think on 420 we should all like wear something in common. Maybe dress like Bob Marley or something. I can get me a little dread
I would love to get like the wig with the
with a little dread.
that would actually be dope. That would actually be dope.
I'll be on a legally obtained edible just to be festive. Legally obtained in the state of California. We're not breaking any laws, guys.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Thank you, Blue, my love. Be good, babe.
Thank you guys. Bye, family.